It's cold now. I'm wrapped up in my blanket. It's time to record a ramble. So, one of the reasons I ended up committing to starting a YouTube channel was in like the game kind of review and analysis and like keeping up with the times space. I found there was like a really poor understanding when it came to hardware costs and design when it came to the gaming market as it relates to like, the rest of it. There's people who specialize in the hardware but want to take a more holistic approach. So today was a good day for that because Valve finally announced their new Steam hardware. I'm gonna mostly ignore the VR headset because I just don't really have much interest. Porting Steam OS to ARM is very impressive though. It's very neat. Hopefully people like it when it comes out and gets a fair price because I know a lot of the VR market is somewhat gouged because top players like realize how small the market is, so they just kind of jacked up prices. They don't really care if it becomes like a big market at all, and I don't really think it ever will. But anyway, two new cool things. First off, and the thing that excites me more is that finally get a new Steam controller. I've always been fascinated by the original Steam controller. I really regret because there was a fire sale and they were like $5 or whatever. Me not getting around to like ordering one, really regret that because fun controllers are a good time to mess with, and having an interesting option that integrates itself into Steam input better than any other controller family is like right up my alley. I'm hoping the Steam controller 2 is great and like a reasonable price. No pricing for anything yet, which we'll circle back around to, but the reason I do want a new Steam controller mostly because I think it would be perfect for emulating like all Nintendo's like dual screen stuff, like the Wii U, the 3DS, and then normal DS and all that. Even though emulation's kind of like here or there on those consoles, like it feels like pretty tiered. Like DS is like, I don't know what the hell's going on there. It's fragmented on so many different emulation products. 3DS finally recovered. Azahar is kind of the go-to 3DS emulator right now. And Seema's keeping on, even though no one really cares about the Wii U at this point. Like, I think they ported everything, except for like the non-sequels, like the Splatoon 1 and Mario Maker 1 and stuff like that. Did they ever port that Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei game? I swear they did. I think I might just be wrong. Anyway. Yeah, I want to try out the Steam controller because I think being able to just like touch the pad and have it like auto swap to like gamepad view so you can just like instantly start scrolling. Like I found workarounds that work for Wii U in particular, where you grab, just for like a Switch controller, I have it set so the screenshot button switches to a different Steam mode shift where tabs being held infinitely. You can also do this with shift tab as a command, but switches that so you can use the whatever stick, the right stick, to go around and select stuff if you need it. It works for most of those games. Anywho, no one's here to listen to me talk about the Wii U. No one cares. It's funny how good and bad console generations can look to other people, because me personally, I didn't really like the Switch generation. Like, I think I ended up buying like the same amount of games proportional to its lifespan as the Wii U. But the Wii U had like games I like more. Well, maybe that's not entirely true. I do like Pikmin 4 and Odyssey, but it's all that. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling around the point and talk about the Steam machine. Because I've been hearing some like runaway talk about other YouTubers like saying things like uh, it's a mid-range device, a mid-range PC. It is not. Not in any like metric at all, actually. Like, this is a mobile processor with like 2 cores with full cache and then 4 with cut down cache. And then, I mean, like the Hawk Point part's like pretty good because it's good architecture, but the GPU is a cut down version of their lowest end GPU from last year, the 7600. So this would be like a 7500 if it actually launched into like actual products on desktop. And it didn't because they had like a bunch of mobile leftover stock, which is why Valve went for it in general. But yeah, this is definitely not. It's a PC launching in 2025 that is slightly weaker than the base PS4. I think that's what you call entry level in any degree. I think people are just saying that because they're anchoring their opinion based on the Steam Deck, even though that thing's just a potato. Like, it can play, yeah, some modern games with compromised settings, but like, you're really convincing me that 480p upscaled to 720p experience is like entry level? No. And this console is going to be entry level. The thing that has me wondering, though, about the performance they've picked for this is that not only relative to the price of the Steam Deck now, but the Steam Deck in the future, where like the Steam Deck 2, whenever that launches, like maybe in 2 years, maybe 3 years, probably near whenever the next gen consoles come around for Sony and haha Xbox, you really have to wonder if like they picked these parts mainly as a way to, in the Steam machine, to like set like a baseline for what they want to hit for a Steam Deck 2 in general. Because it's kind of scary when you go for these entry level specs now, when in a couple years, especially, like 8 GB VRAM card is already pretty compromised in most games, will seem absurdly outclassed by the time the next gen consoles hit. So they'll probably have like nearly double the memory of the previous gen. And like right now, the issue is just, if you're gonna stick with 8 GB of VRAM and you're gonna run into big stuttering issues, then it kind of clashes with the goal of this being a kind of a normie console-ish Linux PC. Yeah, I don't know how successful this is gonna end up working out. What I know will work out is that they have better incentive to support third parties using SteamOS this time around, which causes me to think more about pricing here, because there was no pricing for anything in this showcase, and no pricing afterwards for any reporting. Any numbers you're seeing around are just hearsay and speculation. I wouldn't really put any weight on it for now. Speaking of that reveal, though, I really love how the Steam Deck branding and animation are. It really reminds me of the intro to Monsters, Inc. The way they space things out and do anticipation and timing on everything. It's really awesome. Anyway, so I think people are really undervaluing what the minimum price of this could be, because when you put this thing up directly against buying just a Steam Deck, you're already going to have to weigh the pros and cons there. It is coming with the controller, which is nice, but when it comes to getting a... Who the hell's driving out there? Sorry, fire truck just came to the end of the street. I don't know if there's a ambulance or what going down this way. It's a dead-end street. I don't know why anyone would come down here unless there's an issue. Anyway, what was I talking about? The pricing. I think people are a little undervaluing how low they could go with the pricing, considering how strategically cheap they picked out parts, and pitting it up more directly against the Steam Deck itself, which is already bundled with the controller in a way, and as well as the screen. And Valve are able to sell these for $400. I think people need to keep in mind here. And they are gunning for more market share and are really more willing to hit these prices. So I think it does need to be like around Steam Deck pricing to make even a dent into this market. Like, I could understand if it's like $700, but I also couldn't. Like, the PS5 Pro is like $800, right? These days. Yeah, I think keeping in line with the current deck pricing, where like the original 256 gig model went on sale for like $320 in the US pretty recently. So I think they do want to get as much out there and as far as they can get a user base installed, because of how big the attach rate is for software for deck users before they can switch to having it on store shelves and places eventually. I don't know if that'll happen this gen. Like, people say this is a more direct like Xbox competitor, even though it really won't be in practice. Yeah, I know, like, the big box stores are going out of business more and more, but having it restricted to computers that already have Steam installed as like a storefront really limits the kind of user base you have. What I'm saying is kids who don't have gamer parents, more or less, which is a lot more people than you'd think. Like, over time that'll shift, but for now I think keeping it like 600 or less would keep this as a compelling option for a bunch of people. What's the other thing? I think the device itself is neat. I'm a GameCube generation man, so anything that reminds me of that. Though it doesn't have a handle, which makes it worse, unfortunately. Oh, another thing I can talk about more with like memory limitations is that because they Valve did reveal that they had designed basically like the fan enclosure first. So actual footprint of the device was like pretty much in lock when they made that. So after that, picking out parts that would fit inside that package is like a completely set deal in a lot of ways. So it being locked to an 8 gigabyte card is not that surprising, but clamshelling memory in that case seems like almost a no-go with that fan setup as is. So I get why they weren't able to push it with this first party SKU. Yeah, I think people need to also look around at the mini PC market in general before they hash judgment about how much this is going to cost. If they think it's going to be like $900, I think they're having a laugh. I think it was probably delayed a little, and the pricing reveal is a bit delayed because DDR5 prices just shot through the roof somewhat unexpectedly, so they just need to wait and see if this is going to be a long-term shot or not. Yeah, the effects of tariffs are actually going to be more felt on the consumer end more recently. During the 90-day pause before, there was a panic buy for a lot of holiday shopping, so they stocked up early this year. So during the holiday season, it's probably not going to be too crazy, but it's probably going to creep up a bit. And it's unclear if the court case is going to dissuade them from continuing down this tariff strategy. It's still so cool to see an actual like console manufacturer encourage customization. Like you can swap out the faceplate for this thing, anything you want, and they showed that in the trailer. It's like, here's a whole bunch of like homemade setups. I have like little graphics applied, and we're not really gonna sell these, but here, you can do it. You can look into it. We won't slap you down. We don't care. Like, it was pretty wild when Sony knocked down D brand for selling black versions of the PlayStation, like white shell, big old Kaiba V-neck thing. More customization. Woo. Yeah, I need to get back to work. Sorry for the delay. The Bruce Lee Elusive Target video will be out very soon. It's been the longest Hitman recording I've had, so it's kind of been a bigger challenge to edit it down into something that's entertaining, especially when you're learning a map blind like that. Take a bit more like processing to like figure out what the hell's going on, what your strategy is, and entertain at the same time. So putting a big chunk of work to get this to be as entertaining as it can be. After that, be continuing the freelancer series. I think I do need to shore up a lot of my editing skills for this though. I've just figured out a much better way to be capturing other people's footage, so when I'm like sprinkling in clips from a movie, like actually doing the recording for all that, I figured out a much easier and simpler way to get all the clips I need in a much simpler package, and I feel very dumb. Like pausing recordings instead of starting and stopping each individual new one just really cleans up the amount of work I need. Like instead of having like 10, 20-second clips, I just have one 4-minute one I can just drag into the timeline and chop up, move around, and all that. Yeah, I'm still learning DaVinci Resolve this year. I was hoping to find some time to pick up some like traditional 2D animating or moving over to Blender to learn some extra skills, but I think I need to polish up my knowledge on DaVinci for a bit. Just let me figure out how Fusion works exactly, and the working around certain methods like how to edit centrals like transforms and stuff. So I guess I gotta go. I gotta hear my train. I'm leaving the station. Goodbye. My voice is so dry, 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 dry.